What's up, everyone? This is Destroyer229, and welcome back to Let's Play Persona 4. Last time, Nanako regained consciousness, and although she's still in the hospital, she is allowed to see some visitors. We learned that Namatame has also regained consciousness, but the police are having a hard time interrogating him. And a third thing that's happening is that the days seem to be constantly filled with fog. Normally the fog dissipates by the beginning of the next day, but it's not leaving for whatever reason, which is odd, to say the least. In this episode, with most of our, activities taken care of. Hello. Sorry, Yosuke, I kinda had other plans. Yeah, weird for Yosuke to say, hey, you want to hang out when we've maxed out his social link. But yeah, I've already said last time what exactly we were going to be doing. But we still have to get through the evening, and we still have books to read. So read them, we shall. So how will we continue reading Man God? Well, of course, we're just going to glance through it. We don't need the stats, we just kind of need to get through these books as quickly as possible. We'll get some pointless courage, and hey, we finished Man God! And the day moves on to Wednesday. Alright, well, we have Labor Appreciation Day. Japan has weird holidays sometimes. So we have the day off from school. So, what exactly are we going to be doing today? Well, there's not really a whole lot that we can do. We've maxed out almost all of our social links, we've maxed out all of our stats, but we did accept a few new quests. So today, we're going to spend our time over at Junes. Dang. We still have those quests to get through, plus there is the matter of that optional boss that has now appeared, like in every other dungeon. So, before we head on in, let's go ahead and confirm the situation and see what everyone has to say. And what they say is actually kind of interesting, because we will actually be able to go and see Nanako. Though we'll get into that a little bit of a later time. As for right now, we're going to go ahead and enter the TV.
Let's go.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure all of our party members are kind of wondering, it's like, why are we back in the TV world? But we do have quests that need to be done. Oh, thanks, Rise. So thankfully, everything that we need to do is in heaven. So we don't need to go to any other dungeon. And that means we can also just grab our party from here. So we'll go ahead and grab Yukiko. We'll grab Yosuke. We're going here, Yosuke. And, of course, Kanji. Hey, best case scenario, we might actually be able to find some additional armor. But where's the fun in that? So, as we're going through this, we have actually quite the number of history lessons to get through. Ooh, Arcana chance. What do we get? Strength. Sure, why not? Hey! And we have Garuda. Okay, sure, I can go with that. And yes, this is the opening floor in which we can fight those magi. So we actually have 4 potential history lessons to get through. Yeah, we got a lot of stuff that we could potentially talk about. Since not only did 3 of our party members get their advanced personas, but there is also the matter of, well, the boss that we fought while we were here in heaven, since that too has roots in mythology. However, as we're going through this, we are going to be focusing on 2 history lessons in particular.
Alright, powered up!
Hey, Kanji leveled up! So the 2 history lessons that we are going to be focusing on today are Rise's and Kanji's evolved personas. So we're going to be talking about those 2 and saving the other 2 for another time. So let's dive into the history lesson, starting with Rise's evolved persona, Kanzeon. As soon as I run up and kill the shadow. Ooh, hello. Occult-Kun, Thoth Throne, and Grimlakala. I don't think we've had Grimlakala. Well, at least we got him now. Ooh, and we are maxed on personas. Well, I don't need Narasimha. So, Kanzeon. Kanzeon is going to be quite a bit interesting to go through, since it's more so rooted in Buddhism, whereas most of the other history lessons have revolved around either history, specifically Japanese history, or Shintoism.
Another level for me!
Alright, Yosuke! I bring this up because, oh boy, are there some very, very difficult to pronounce words coming up. And especially since these are, well, Indian in origin as opposed to Japanese, I am probably going to mispronounce things a lot. So, I'm going to try my best to pronounce things, but I think now is probably going to be about as good a time as any to actually put these words on screen when I pronounce them, because I'm going to butcher them quite a bit. I apologize in advance. Ooh, a Snuffle. So, Kanzeon is the Japanese interpretation of the Bodhisattva of compassion. This is said to embody the compassion of all of the Buddhas. So what exactly is a Bodhisattva? Well, in Buddhism, a Bodhisattva is someone who has attained Bodhicitta, which is essentially a state of mind that strives to either awaken or conduct empathy or compassion, all for the sake of every sentient being within the universe. Simplified another way, the bodhicitta is also called the enlightened mind. So that is kind of gives you an idea of what these beings are and what exactly they had to go through. There's a lot more to it, but this is just the simplified version. Now, in India, this figure is very different than how it's interpreted further east. For one, the Bodhisattva of compassion was male. And went by the name Avalokitesvara. However, when Buddhism traveled eastward, the interpretation of compassion was actually quite different to those of Eastern culture. Whereas in India, compassion was a more masculine quality, in the East, it was seen as more of a feminine quality. So as Buddhism traveled further east, it caused these more feminine interpretations of Avalokitesvara. This would range from Guan Yin in China to Lokitesvara in Cambodia to Kanzeon or Kanon, two different names for the same thing, in Japan. For simplicity's sake, I will be referring to this being based on the Japanese interpretation, since that is what we are basing this history lesson on. So whenever I'm talking about the Bodhisattva of compassion, I will be using feminine pronouns and be referring to her as Kanzeon. A frozen rose? Hello, what is that? Frozen rose, frozen rose. There it is. Prevents rage. Interesting. This is going to be slightly confusing since I will be heading back and forth between the Indian names and the Japanese names, but I am going to try to keep things as consistent as possible. Have we fought these enemies?
That enemy's immune to wind.
The Dark Eagles.
No problem. It'll
We
be over
have
in a
not.
flash.
These are brand new enemies. Okay, well, Risei... That is something that I mentioned about before with Risei's enemy scan. She will just say whether an enemy is weak to a certain element or is immune to a certain element. So, as we saw in the beginning of the battle, these things are immune to wind. Let's see how they deal with light. Pretty good. Alright then.
Damn, it's not going down.
How about fire? Weak to fire. Awesome. Okay, we have Pablisag, Seiryu, and Throne. And you know what? I really don't care, so I'm actually gonna go for the blank. Ow. So, in the Karandavayuha Sutra, which is a... oh, jeez. Which is a mantra Mantrayana Sutra, created in around the 4th or 5th century AD. This sutra basically explains, well, it's almost like a creation myth in a sense. Ooh, Arcana chance. What do we get? The Hanged Man. Sure. Certainly use some endurance. Kinky. Can't win them all. So in this sutra, it is stated that, quote, although adjusted for the pronouns I mentioned earlier, the sun and the moon were born from Kanzeon's eyes, Shiva from her brow, Brahma from her shoulders, Narayana from her heart, Sarasvati from her teeth, the wind from her mouth, the earth from her feet, and the sky from her stomach. However, that is not just the only predominant story featuring Kanzeon. Excuse me? Amaterasu Fob. The heck does that do? Well, let's see. Amaterasu Fob increases max HP by 30%? Ooh, now if that was SP, I would consider giving that to myself. But considering it's HP, ooh, I'll give that to Kanji. That sounds really nice. Now, the most prominent story about Kanzeon more so explains her desire to help humanity, and even more so than just humanity, help every sentient being. For you see, Kanzeon vowed to never rest until she was able to free all sentient beings from samsara. What exactly is samsara? Samsara, in a nutshell, is the cycle of rebirth. Within Buddhism, how the cycle of rebirth works is that as living things go through life, they are born, they go through life, they die, and then they are reincarnated into something else. However, this happens throughout all of eternity. And in order to break this cycle, one has to reach enlightenment. And that essentially is how one can achieve true happiness. Okay, I just killed a Phantom Lord and I got the lamp. I was expecting having to fight a Raven for that one, but you know what? I'll take it. So Kanzeon vowed to never rest until she was able to free every sentient being from this cycle and help them all achieve true happiness. Ooh. Cerberus, Pablisag. Have we had Scotty? I don't think we've had Scotty before. Oh, we have her now. What do I want to give up for her? Grimlacala? Grimlacala. Ooh, and Arcana chance too. The Lovers. You know, I don't actually have my notes in front of me for Arcana chance right now, so I'm gonna say no. However, despite her best efforts, she couldn't comprehend the needs of so many beings. And eventually, the stress got to her so bad that her head literally split into 11 pieces. It was at this point that Amitabha, or Amida Butsu, as he's referred to in Japanese, saw her struggle. Amida Butsu, which again I will be referring to him based on the Japanese interpretation, is referred to as the Buddha of immeasurable life and light. I'm not 100% sure since my research was a little bit sketchy on this, but I think he was the original Buddha. Again, not entirely sure on that, but if he wasn't the original, he is still a very powerful Buddha. And when he saw Kanzeon in her struggle, he felt great compassion for her, and, well, he tried to assist her as best as he could. In order to help Kanzeon hear the demands of so many beings, Amida Butsu gave Kanzeon 11 heads in order to better hear the needs of so many beings. And this ultimately worked. She was able to much better understand what exactly, well, the beings needed in order to help better reach enlightenment. However, because there was still so many beings that needed help, her arms ultimately couldn't keep up with the demand of how many people she needed to help. And eventually, her arms just straight up shattered. This, once again, is where Amida Butsu comes in to help. In order to help her assist with so many people, he replaced her 2 arms with 1,000. It was from this point onward that Kanzeon was able to meet up with such a demand, to not only hear the cries of so many beings, but also to be able to help them. So that, in a nutshell, is the purpose of Kanzeon, in order to assist other beings to reach enlightenment. Now, as a little bit of a side note, there is actually an interesting, well, similarity with Kanzeon and another being of compassion. And this specifically deals with Kanzeon, not with the other Bodhisattva of compassion. And that's the fact that Kanzeon is usually, homunculus. She's usually depicted as wearing a white robe, and also has some minor details like having a headdress, or carrying a jar of water, or a willow branch. And what's rather interesting is that if you see a picture, or, well, an artist's rendition of Kanzeon, there's actually a striking resemblance between her and the Virgin Mary.
I leveled up!
Well, that was kind of stupid. I had 3 enemies that I had to take down. One of them was a gold hand, and it just would not miss. Oh well, whatever. Yukiko leveled up, and she learned Mediarahan. Nice. Let's get rid of Diorama for that. And next is Maragidine. Now, this isn't exactly like a far-fetched thing to, well, a far-fetched comparison, since considering that both of these figures are feminine representations of compassion and mercy, there are historians that claim that Kanzeon's depiction was inspired by paintings of Mary that was brought to Japan during some early missionaries. So it's not exactly that far-flung of an idea to say that that representation was inspired by Mary. Oh yeah, just a little bit of a fun fact. And we get a gas mask. Woo. Well, that at least finishes off one of our history lessons, but we do have another to go over. And that would be Kanji's evolved persona, Rakuten Mao. Yeesh, would really help if I could actually say these right. Now this one I actually had a hard time finding anything on, so I will actually be supplementing it with something else that I found rather interesting. So, Rakuten Mao. Rakuten Mao is also referred to as Dairoku Tenmao, which roughly translates to the Demon King of the Sixth Heaven. Oh, this is not good. That, however, is good. I will go ahead and equip that on someone. Let's see. Yosuke has the Talisman Cape, which is 240. As does Kanji. Okay, who could use that more? I mean, honestly, both of them could probably use it. We'll give it to Yosuke. I might actually just consider not opening up any more gold chests, at least for now. Just to save up on my chest keys. Please don't do something stupid like the last one did. And what do you know, I actually got the kill very easily that time. So, Rakuten Mao is described in the Gohozon, which is a sacred text in Japanese Buddhism, as having an insatiable lust for power and willing to do anything in order to achieve his goals. In fact, he's actually very closely associated with Mara. Yes, that Mara, in case you were wondering, who typically has similar goals when it comes to traditional Buddhism. And that's about it. Yeah, finding any information on Rakuten Mao was extremely difficult. Like, there was very little information that I could find, but what's interesting is that I did find information on a very similar being. Someone who shared the title of Demon King of the Sixth Heaven. And so we will supplement this by going over a history lesson of the one and only Oda Nobunaga. Hey!
Congrats, Senpai!
I leveled up!
It's level up time!
As did Rise! So what exactly does Nobunaga have in common with Rakuten Mao? Well, not a whole lot, but he does have that title of Demon King of the Sixth Heaven. And you could even see some influences of Nobunaga within Rakuten Mao, the persona. So it's not completely out of left field.
More power for me!
Alright, Kanji! Now, it would be far too lengthy to go over the entirety of Oda Nobunaga's life, so we're primarily going to focus on the beginning and the end, his rise and fall from power. So Oda Nobunaga was a powerful daimyo who lived in the late 16th century. He was born on June 23rd, 1534, and he was considered quite odd and eccentric, especially since growing up, he associated with commoners despite his high rank, and he had quite some violent outbursts, especially one particular incident during his father's funeral. Alright, Yosuke! So when his father died in 1551, Nobunaga's uncle, Oda Nobutomo, manipulated the Shugo, who was essentially like a military governor, to help him be named leader of the clan. Eventually, the Shugo plotted against Nobutomo and was killed for his treachery. In order to secure his place as head of the clan, Nobunaga asked for help. Specifically, he asked his great-grandfather, Oda Nobumitsu, and with Nobumitsu's help, he was able to kill Nobutomo and was considered the undisputed ruler of the clan. Although there were some people who supported his younger brother, Nobuyuki. This didn't last too long though, as Nobuyuki was eventually assassinated in 1557. Fought me a fish, got me an ore, I need some SP. Right now. Oh man, we've actually got quite a few snuff souls. I mean, I also have sodas, but whatever. Now, during his rule, Nobunaga subjugated and made alliances with a great number of clans, including the Yoshimoto, the Matsudaira, the Yoshitatsu, the Asakura, and the Asai clans, among many, many others. Nobunaga was quite the ruler and quite the dictator as well, as he would unrelentlessly kill any who stood against him if he did not see a purpose for them, or if they had any sort of knowledgeable threat of taking over his power. However, despite his ruthlessness, Nobunaga was certainly very successful when it came to unifying all of Japan, as he made great strides towards that goal. At the beginning of his rule, Nobunaga only controlled a very small area around Nagoya. However, in his 2 decades of rule, this expanded greatly. From this small area, Nobunaga eventually was able to control over half of Japan, from as far south as Hakataka to just below Tsuruyaka. So there was a great amount of work done in the unification of Japan, but unfortunately, Nobunaga would not be able to see it fully unified. In 1582, Nobunaga's former sandal bearer, yes, a lowly peasant who is now a general, called Yashiba Hideyoshi, requested reinforcements in his siege of Takamatsu Castle, which was actually a vital center of the Mori clan that Nobunaga was currently in conflict with. Nobunaga sent another of his generals, Akechi Mitsuhide, in order to assist Hideyoshi. Nobunaga then went to a temple in Kyoto named Honnoji, and he mostly just went there for a little bit of a vacation. And since he was so deep into his own territory, he didn't really have too many guards, about a few dozen to protect him. This would prove to be a grave mistake. On June 21st, 1582, Mitsuhide took his forces that were supposed to be sent to Hideyoshi, and they attacked Nobunaga. This initiated a coup, and Nobunaga's forces were very quickly overrun by Mitsuhide's forces. It was so one-sided that no one on Nobunaga's side survived the assault. Now, as for the reasons for this coup, well, there's plenty of speculation as to why Mitsuhide betrayed Nobunaga. Some tales suggest that he was jealous of Hideyoshi, since he was just a lowly peasant, but became one of Nobunaga's most trusted generals.
I leveled up!
Alright, Yukiko! There are other sources that state that Mitsuhide he wanted to have vengeance on his mother's death. Since, oh, seriously, this just loops around? Since it was said that she died because Nobunaga broke a peace treaty. However, these are all just speculation. All of these are just stories. No one actually knows the true motive behind Mitsuhide's betrayal. Ooh, Mother Harlot leveled up. Nice. And she learns ailment boost. Don't need. I don't even have any ailment moves on her. On July 2nd, 1582, about 11 days after the coup, Hideyoshi attacked Mitsuhide in what is known as the Battle of Yamazaki. By the battle's end, Mitsuhide would lie dead, and Hideyoshi would have taken his first step into his own campaign to unify Japan. So there we go. A little bit of a tangent history lesson, but nonetheless, those are the two beings known as the Demon King of the Sixth Heaven. Rokoten Mao and his real, well, sort of real-life counterpart, Oda Nobunaga. Alright, and that will do it for the history lessons this time around. I must say, these two were rather difficult to find anything on, but still, that's just the type of thing that, well, I think I mentioned this before when we were talking about Suzuka Gongen, or Gozen, whatever, same thing. Is just that it's actually quite interesting just to know the history behind these mythological beings, since although there is some, well, a little bit of history within the compendium, we can't exactly get that with our party members. And well, sometimes just the information, well, sometimes it's hard to find the information, and sometimes there's just no really much information to be had. But hey, I do my best just to give a little bit more insight as to these personas. I mean, it's just kind of fun looking at this type of thing. I mean, oh, hello! Teddy and the Fox! On the 9th Paradise? Really, this late in? Keep up the good work, Teddy. get... Ooh, thank you, Teddy. Alright, let's actually see what he has to say, considering how... Well, we finished... Well, how... We actually haven't finished Teddy's social link, but we are further than when we were the last time we talked to him. Not really too much, although I imagine if we had Yosuke, that would be a little bit different. Okay, Fox is neutral today. Oh, give me a snuff soul. Thank you, Mr. Fox. How much for a healing? Only 10,000? Hell yeah, we're pretty much near the end, so this will actually save me a trip to head back. So thank you, Mr. Fox. Anyway, like I was saying, like I do consider myself a bit of a student of history. I mean, there's just a lot that you can learn throughout just different cultures, history, mythology. And I just find that very interesting. Alright, now it shouldn't be too much longer before we reach the end here. Let's see. There might be a chest over... Oh, there is a chest this way. Without a shadow! Nice! Ooh, we have been getting a lot of gold, or the chest keys, so, you know, sure. Spirit Hachimaki, well, it was worth a gamble. We still would have liked another Tsukuyomi armor for Kanji, but, oh well, whatever. Not exactly the worst thing. I mean, worst thing would have been down to my last chest key, and I got that thing. Or if I was in seriously desperate need for Kanji to have a new piece of armor, but I'm not really too desperate, so oh well. Ooh.
Congratulations!
Hey, I leveled up!
Yes, I leveled up!
As did Rise! Ooh, nice! Couldn't remember if Trumpeter was 64 or 67. Regardless, I'm at the higher of the two levels, so we are good to go to fuse Trumpeter. And... see, it's interesting because now I don't need to go back since I went to the Fox, but I kind of want to go back anyway. You know, I don't think we have enough time to take on the boss. But I do think we have time to do some fusions, including making Trumpeter. So, why don't we go ahead and head back down. And we can go and do some Persona fusions. So, first things first, once we get back to base, I'm gonna go ahead and heal. If by heal, I mean save. Because that's well, you know what? I shouldn't say that because by heal I mean save. You know, there are like the save crystals from Final Fantasy 12. Anyway, let's go ahead and register all of our personas, and we can go from there. Actually, what's the fusion forecast for today? Nothing! Tomorrow is Kartikeya with Angelic Grace, but oh well. And what exactly did I need for Trumpeter? Okay, 67 was Trumpeter. And I need a Trumpeter with Mind Charge, I believe. I hope I have one of those personas that has Mind Charge. I'll take a look at that, and we will go from there. This I find most acceptable. So we are fusing away Tom Lin, Scotty, and Laketsis in order to fuse Thor. My other favorite persona alongside Succubus. This is a very powerful persona. With Elect Amp, that Zeodyne is going to be incredibly powerful. And with that strong strength stat, plus Arms Master, oh wow, that magic boost helped out significantly. Arms Master will halve the cost of HP skills. That is going to be incredibly helpful. And Zeodyne. Ooh, what do I want to get rid of for that? Either High Counter or Masukukaja. Let's get rid of High Counter. I already resist physical with Thor. Null physical! Okay, sure, that'll work. We're getting rid of Masukukaja anyway. Oh, and the creme de la creme, Thunder Rain. Severe electric damage to one foe. The most powerful electric spell in the game. I'm definitely getting rid of Zeodyne for that. Holy crap. And this is why I love Thor. Okay, this may seem like a very odd set of skills to pass down, but I was specifically looking for resist fire and null physical. The other skills, well, they can be, well, very easily expendable. So we are fusing away Jin, Mother Harlot, and Succubus in order to fuse Atropos. Since we have maxed out in the Fortune Arcana, we can very easily get a lot of experience for this persona. So let's see what type of skills she learns. Okay, well, the first skill she gets is Mind Charge, which is definitely a plus. Magarudyne, that is also really nice. Evade Fire. Better than Fire Boost, I guess. And Wind Amp. Okay, not exactly the greatest set of skills that I passed down, but hey, still worked out in the end. And I've got a really powerful wind user. So overall, I am pretty content with that. Meh, why not? So we are fusing away Garuda and Abaddon in order to fuse Hellbiker. Very interesting persona, to say the least. Meow, meow. I think I can actually hear a motorcycle outside my window right now. Well, anyway, let's see what sort of skills Hellbiker learns. We'll get Endure, which is nice. So if I have him out, I can be able to take an attack once per battle. Magarudyne, also nice. I'll certainly take that. Absorb Fire. Okay, I'm liking where this is going. I probably don't need Mudun. So we'll get rid of that. And Fire Amp. That would actually be really nice. Okay, not bad. Not bad at all. Alright, this might be a weird one to do, but trust me, this is actually vitally important. So we are fusing away Sandman, Fornius, and Apsaris in order to fuse Talti. Again. Yeah, not exactly great, but then again, passing down the skills wasn't the reason for making Talti in this fashion. We already had Talti in our compendium. However, we didn't have one with Mind Charge. And that's the reason why we needed to make him, because we needed that in order to get Trumpeter Mind Charge. Because no other personas that are used to make him had it. So now we have one. Hooray! Alright, I know this isn't exactly the greatest combination, but I'll be damned if I spend another 5 minutes before I see another Mind Charge show up. So we are fusing away Matador, White Rider, Daisojo, Pablasag, Tau, and Tauti in order to fuse Trumpeter. We've not established the Judgment Arcana, which seems very odd considering how late in the game we are. But, nonetheless, we are going to make this persona. Our first hexagonal spread. Not many personas in the game require one of those, but Trumpeter is one. And now we have added him to our repertoire.
Welcome to the Velvet Room.
Wait, what? Oh, what is it? A brooch? Thou art I, and I am thou. Thou hast established a genuine bond. These genuine bonds shall be your eyes to see the truth. We bestow upon the ability to create Isis, the ultimate form of the Empress Arcana. And with this, the Margaret social link has reached its maximum level. We've now mastered the Margaret social link. Our power to create personas of the Empress Arcana has reached its maximum. You, Narukami, has forged a bond that cannot be broken. By mastering the Empress social link, we can now fuse Isis, the mother of reincarnation. And there we go, another social link completed. Now, excuse me while I buy back some personas that I fused away. Alright, and that will do it for our persona fusions this time. So this is currently what my list of personas is looking like. Mostly just having a persona that at least has a dedicated element. I also went and bought Clotho and Lachesis. Lachesis at least has Secunda, so there's at least a practical application there. But one thing that I should note is that in order to fuse Norn, you need to have a very specific combination. And that's Atropos, Lachesis, and Clotho. Unfortunately, we don't have the level to make Norn, but you do need those specific personas. So once we reach that, we'll at least have the capabilities of making Norn. Now there's also one other thing that we need to do. We did not get all the items that we needed. So I need to go back and try to find me some classy lumber. So excuse me while I go find some.
Another level! Gotta keep at it!
Okay, I didn't realize how close Kanji was to leveling up. By the way, the enemies that we're looking for are found between the 5th and the 7th floors. Unfortunately, didn't have them, but at least Kanji learned Maziodyne. Definitely get rid of Mazio. Ooh, Primal Force.
Alright, I leveled up!
Sure enough, second fight I got in. Found the tables, and Yosuke leveled up. Nice. Alright, with the item in hand, we now have all of the items we need for our quests. Before we get going though, let's go ahead and use up some sodas to recover some SP. Yeah, that should be good. And that will do it for us here. Boy, has this one been a doozy of an episode. So, next time on Let's Play Persona 4. We have reached the top of heaven once again. An optional boss awaits us up there, but all we have to do is conquer it, and then we'll be done with our TV explorations today. There's really not too much left for us to do, but the game continues onward. There's still plenty of questions that have yet to be answered. So, we just have to wait until the opportunity presents itself before we get those answers. Until next time, everyone, take care.